Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Today, I'm honored to welcome a true legend of film music, Academy Award-winning composer, conductor, and musical director Bill Conti. Born in Providence. Hi, how are you, Bill? Bill, your resume, your work is incredible. So if you don't mind, let me do you a little bit of a just a little bit here, and 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 give out some of your projects and things like that here for the listeners. So again, if I've got this right, you were born in Providence, Rhode Island. Bill's life in music began very early. He studied piano under his father. He earned a scholarship in bassoon to Louisiana State University, and he went on to refine his craft at Juilliard and in Rome, where he absorbed the rich traditions of European composition. His career in film took flight with Rocky, and that unforgettable theme, Gonna Fly Now, became one of the most recognizable and inspiring pieces of music ever written. With lyrics by Carol Connors and Ann Robbins and performed by Dee Dee Bridgewater on vocals with Mike Terry Orchestra, often credited as the Rocky Orchestra, and released in 1976, the song became a massive hit, reaching number one on the Billboard Hot 100 in July 1977, and it remains one of the most recognizable film themes ever written. From there, Bill's scores for The Right Stuff, the Karate Kid series, For Your Eyes Only, Dynasty, and North and South became part of our cultural soundtrack. And over the years, Bill has conducted the Academy Awards more than any other musical director in history, 19 times. And along the way, he's earned an Academy Award for The Right Stuff, multiple Oscar and Golden Globe nominations, and 13 Emmys, winning 3. He's also been honored with the ASCAP, Henry Mancini Lifetime Achievement Award, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, induction into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, and an honorary doctorate for LSU. In true maestro fashion, Bill and his wife have given back to the next generation, donating his entire archive of original scores and manuscripts to LSU, preserving a lifetime of musical excellence for future composers to study and be inspired by. The Conti's donation of his scores to LSU is among the most significant in-kind gifts in the university's history. It's a privilege and an honor to welcome to the show Bill Conti. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Jeremiah. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me on this show. Really, your music has marked my life over the years in so many ways and so many experiences. What are your earliest memories of music? Those very first moments that maybe that you realized how deeply sound could move people?
Well, music, of course, was always in the family. Both my father and grandfather were musicians, and when you begin, and if you begin at 4 or 5, most people begin young, and if you begin in the traditional way, then you're going to be exposed to some of the great music that's ever been written, even if it's for children, meaning the simple stuff, the little sonatinas, the little music that you have to play at your level, that's been written at your level, has been written by some of the great composers of the past. Now, if you don't deal with the past, if you don't think about the past very much, then you might get some new methods. And it's not to say that you can't learn music that way, but I was brought up in the tradition, in the classical tradition, in the way it was always done. So therefore, little pieces by Mozart, little pieces by Bach, that were written for kinder music, for children. Music, the genius of the composer that's able to put the emotion into the music is always best in the hands of a genius, or better, let's say. If you're a plumber and you can write a great song, I'm not going to deny your talent to write a great song or be a great plumber either. I mean, it comes from all of us, but if it's coming from a genius and you're exposed to it early, well, then it might take hold of you. It doesn't have to take hold of you, but if it does, then watch out, because from the earliest times, you could be 5, you could be 6, you could be 7 years old, playing the little pieces that contain little nuggets of inspired music, not just simple music that children can play, but music by Clementi and Czerny. And I say Mozart and Bach and Beethoven wrote some music that children can play. Well, that led me to want to be involved with the music that most emotionally moved me. So some music doesn't do that, but there were some dramatic pieces of music that touched me. Now, not all pieces of music touch all people, but some do. So if you're a child and you have an encounter of a piece of dramatic music, and in my house, opera was the big deal. Didn't go to movies, but we heard a lot of opera. And those moments, those dramatic moments, those musically dramatic moments, you grew up and you were impressed, you were emotionally impressed, right? Wow. If I could write a piece of music like that, that was the thing. How could you write a piece of music like that that makes another individual either crying? Of course, that would happen. I have to get rid of
It happens.
the one thing I didn't.
You're in demand. People want to talk to you.
Here,
That's
don't
interesting.
even answer. Don't even answer.
It's really interesting that you were aware of that, that
So,
it
so the
made you
music,
feel. And if
the music grabbed me from the very beginning. My father was the organist at the church also, so I was doing uh, music at the church. Maybe 6 years old, maybe 7 years old. Now, what kind of music? Obviously, the music that I could handle at that time. And by the time, if in the 50s, my family took me to a movie, which if they did, it was probably one of the big Quo Vadis like movies, right? Family movie like that.
yeah,
And it was probably Miklos Rozsa with the horns and the big orchestra. I mean, we know nothing about the Roman music. We know nothing about the Greek music. We know very little. I mean, obviously there was nothing written, recorded, or anything. But these guys invented it, made it up, and said, "Who cares?" Cleopatra had this kind of music. No, she didn't. It was some composer who said, take this. This is what we think it is. So that hook, the great music first, and then where do you do this? Well, here are your options if you want to write dramatic music for a living. Now, if you could write opera, you could write musicals, you could go film or television. That's it. Now, if you're going to write opera, which has been of a different era, it's come and gone. Musicals are kind of hanging on, but it's not like the most current form of entertainment. It's an entertainment, and it's dramatic music, and they certainly write opera today, and they certainly write musicals today. But I chose film and television. It seemed like you could do that rather than provide for your living by teaching, let's say. Say you wrote an opera and it wasn't a hit, or you wrote a musical and it wasn't a hit. Well, there you were. You had to do something else. So you could teach music, you could play. I always played music from the time I was 14 to 28. I played 7 nights a week in a club, in a saloon. So that music was always part of my life. But
You
when
had
I
your own
realized
band in
that
high school,
music
right? You'd play the
captured
high
me,
school day.
beginning in high school until I was 28, I played 7 nights a week in saloons. But I was at LSU, I was at Juilliard, I went to Rome, and the kind of music that I wanted to write was the kind of music that would move people. So film seemed to be the way to go. So if you could get a job in a movie, then you could keep on writing.
I think it's really interesting, Bill, that you described knowing that you wanted to move people based off of some of the greats that you were listening to at home and practicing. Um, but you knew you pinpointed, I want to move people. And not all, as you said, not all music does, but more often than not, your soundtracks have moved people and have moved me, as I described in the opening. Little choices you make with the piano keys or with an instrument really touch that part of us inside that connects with music, and you've moved people. So you set out to do that, and you have accomplished that.
And there's the it's not a trick, but you could get caught in the trap of thinking, well, what does he want to hear? Um, and then you say, well, write the music that he wants to hear. Well, that would be a mistake because now you got one step removed from the true emotion that you feel. So you write the
Interesting.
music that you feel in the hopes that
Right.
in the humanity of it, like if I have a toothache, you don't have to have one to know what it feels like. I say, well, I have a toothache. You say, well, I know what that is. But if I say, well, I fell in love once with this girl, and you go, well, I did too. It didn't. Now, is it exactly the same? No, it's not the same. I want to go punch this guy in the face. My rage is this rage. And now, don't forget, we're talking about music because music is the ultimate fantasy. It's not literal. See spot run. The guy does a picture, okay, and then there's a piece of sculpture. And then the guy writes a poem, and it's usually see spot run. Why? It's a poem about the girl. This girl I fell in love with. She got brown hair. I love her eyes. Um, no, you hear a piece of music and you go, that reminds me of her. How could that be? What reminds you of? What does a piece of music remind you of? Well, it's your own imagination that's doing it. Between my imagination and your imagination is the fantasy of music. Now, what is that? We don't know what it is. I mean, it's not literal.
Yeah.
And by the way, it can be very sophisticated or it could be very crude. The beating of the drums. And you go, uh-oh, what's happening here? And then you hear the screeching. Oh, what's going on in the shower? Something's about to happen. So this music is the carrier of so many things. And then we, film composers, supposedly are the students of that. So psychologically, even though the film, for example, he's talking to her, she's looking at him lovingly, and the director says he's going to kill her. He hates him. The music should show that. So here's a scene that could be done like a love scene. You could hear the violins. She looks loving at him. He kind of gives a blank stare. But if I go in a certain way, when you're looking at that blank stare, you go, uh-oh, this is not love. Now, what's doing that? Well, I'm doing that. Or the music's doing it. All film composers do that. All students of the game, and it's a psychological thing that has been going on for thousands of years. I mean, it's not so much film is rather new compared to, well, when the Greeks went into battle, they went into battle in the Dorian mode. You go, what? The Greeks went into battle in the Dorian mode. Now I have to explain what the Dorian mode is. Well, that's the scales. What's a scale? What's a combination of notes, music? And the Greeks knew that. And he says, by the way, if we're going to make love, it's going to be in the Lydian mode. Oh, you mean the little guy with the harp and the little flute player? Yeah, yeah. If he was playing in the Dorian mode and beating the drums, we're going to go kill someone. Now, how did they know that? They heard the Dorian mode and they knew that. So, pre Greeks in Babylonia, they did it. Dramatic music has been around as long as humans have been around. So, we got a new medium. We say, well, we're going to do it in films. Well, so what? We've been doing it in mystery plays. We've been doing it thousands of years ago. I mean, if you're a student of the game, you can be just a student of film, but if you're a student of the whole thing, you say, well, hey, minor, major, this chord, they used to go this. Ever heard of Wagner? He did 3 hours on two chords, but you fell in love, you killed people. This manipulation is going on forever. So I'm a student of that game. What did they do dramatically? What did music do dramatically? And I've done it for a lifetime.
You've done it for a lifetime, and you've connected in a way. The way you describe it, we know these things instinctively as humans, but when we see something happening visually, the music sort of connects the dots for us, and
Non-literally.
maybe foreshadows, or maybe not literally.
Well, it's
Is
never
there
literal.
something?
It's never he's going to go
No,
kill him. What is it?
but you've proven with your scores, with the films, the television shows, the things that you've done, that you have a unique insight into this, and you're able to find those notes and those melodies that help us feel and really understand, maybe
One of
connected,
many. I
like
mean,
a good song does, right? Like we connect with it somehow emotionally. And
yes.
you've been able to do that over and over and over your lifetime with your scores. Is there something besides understanding how to use those notes as a musician? Is there something as just a personality trait, or a skill set in some other way that have helped you do this successfully for so long?
Oh,
Is there anything else that comes into play?
well, there's too many. Use too many words there. To be success, you have to have luck. You have to be very lucky. You have to have a combination of the right place, the right time. The people want to hear this, are affected by it. They're not affected by everything, so sometimes they're affected by it, and that you have no control over. You do the same you do it the same way every time. Meaning, this is the way, the best way. I know how to do it now, and then nobody goes to see the movie. Well, you still do it the best way you know how to do it. So success has a lot to do with luck. That's that's for darn sure. The other part is uh, other people do exactly what I do. There's only a handful of us, of course, who wants to write music for a living. Uh, maybe many do, or some do, but we that do it in film and television end up being just comparatively just a few people that are interested in doing that. And then if you get good at it, meaning finding the right musical sense to put with the right dramatic moment. It could be done intellectually or it could be done instinctually. In other words, we really don't care how you get to the end. Let's use actors. Some actors are terrible, but you can't keep your eyes off them. They have a magnetism. Some
Mhm.
actors are great, and you see their technique is amazing. So different skills. There's the guy who you say, well, he can't act his way out of a paper bag, but I can't take my eyes off him, and he's great. And it's like, oh, he's only doing himself. That's a big deal if he's only doing himself and he's on the screen. So he doesn't have, let's say, the kind of educated talent about anything. He just has a natural ability. What are we going to blame him for having a natural ability? So if he could be great because of the results, if your results are good, we really don't ask, did you study a lot? Are you tall? Are you short? What are you, black or white? I mean, it's the thing about, does it work? Am I crying? Am I supposed to cry? And I'm crying. You did a good job. I'm not crying. You failed. Why aren't I crying? When she's got the baby dog in her arms and she's streaming out of her eyes and the music begins and nothing. Well, give me another composer. I mean, you got someone on a 35-foot screen that's crying and you can't make people cry with your music. So talent is a big deal. And then skill is a big deal. So sometimes you rely on one, sometimes you rely on the other. You got to deliver the goods. And how do you deliver the goods? You get lucky that people accept it.
Okay, so Rocky, one of the greatest underdog stories ever. And Karate Kid, I would say, is a close second. How did you define, like, um, tell me about meeting Sylvester Stallone and director John Avildsen
Well,
for
yeah,
Rocky,
yeah.
and then
Well,
defining the underdog sound or the story? Did you know it was an underdog story
Sly
going in?
had the obviously the story and the character and the acting ability, right? All of that. He had the whole package. But who's going to put the package together? And now the producer needs a director who says, take these 1,000 people and go make a movie. Everyone has a skill, right? So the producer's skill is picking the people that can get it done. That's his skill. I mean, we know that the actor, his skill is portraying the character that's supposed to go. Okay. The director guy is to put the whole story together. Somebody had to write it. There's nothing without a story. All right, so who wrote it? In this case, Stallone wrote it. It was a good story. Producers recognize it. Oh, it's a good story. We want to do it. We want other people. No, I want to be the star. No, yes, no, yes, no. Okay, yes. Whatever that ended up being, it was a yes. And then let's get a director. Okay, how did they do that? I'm not privy to that, but he had done a couple of little pictures before that, Joe and other things, and they selected it. I was not in on any of that. And now he has to take all this disparate pieces, the script, the actors, the location, the whole administration. It's Napoleon moving an army. We're going to go over there. Instead of fighting, we're going to make a movie. So we need to keep the army together enough to make a movie, which is winning a war, because it's a war. My dressing room is this. I don't like this. I can't hear him be the sound guy because there's crickets over here. There's a car chase. The administration, the police won't let us do this. There's a million things that they have to take care of. A movie is impossible to be made. If a movie is half good, it's a miracle to begin.
Yeah.
Then they need music. Well, they need music since that sound came in. They had silent movies. And as soon as they had silent movies, they had a piano player in the same thing. Then they had an organ player. Then they have a little band playing along with the silent movie. I mean, they really needed music. Why? Because music was there before there was film. Opera was there before there was film. Words were there before. Story was there before. Everything was there before film. Okay. So we needed music. And in this case, you need a music guy to do the film on Rocky. Who do you know is everything? Almost everything. I'm living in Italy, working on a picture as an Italian. I'm an American. I'm an Italo-American. But I was hired as an Italian to work on Bloom in Love, Warner Brothers picture. Paul Mazursky, the director. Here's the hook. Living in Rome, working on a picture with Americans. I'm an American. They think I'm an Italian. Okay. I do Bloom in Love. I come back here, and Paul Mazursky in '74 wants me to do Harry and Tonto. It's a movie. I do the movie. The film cutter, Richard Halsey, goes to do a movie at the 20th Century Fox. Dixie and Burt Reynolds, Dixie Dance King, something like that. He comes in and introduces me to John Avildsen, who's doing the movie. They both want me to do the movie. 20th Century says, no, never heard of him. They use someone else. Then John Avildsen, Richard Halsey, from Paul Mazursky's connection to Harry and Tonto, working in Rome, now John Avildsen, they're doing a little fight movie. Want to use this guy. He's cheap. $25,000 package deal. Got to do it. Package deal means you pay for everything. You pay for the music, the engineer, the copying, the cleaning of the room, everything. Then you get
Everything.
So we had 1 3-hour session, and we did the music. And then here's where the luck comes in. I go off to Germany to do another movie. The movie opens, and my wife, who wouldn't see the picture because it was a boxing movie, she thought it might be too, bloody. She said, that little picture you did seems to be doing okay. So I come back from Germany, and oh my goodness, my life has changed. I have a career.
So that was it. That altered the course of your life.
You need a hit.
Yeah.
In other words, in show business, you need a hit. If it's records, you need a hit. It's film, you need a hit. Now, what you do with your hit afterwards is a problem. I mean, because you have to maintain. But you have to begin with the hit. And Rocky was a blessing for me. Yeah.
That scene of Rocky sprinting up the steps is so iconic. Why do you think that the imagery and your music, that song, has inspired generations, and why do you think it works so well? Do you think
Well,
about that?
technically, there's the movie. Simple movie. Plot line is not complicated. And his character is displayed in the first 9 reels. And he's the same guy that he was in the first reel, meaning sad, lonely, loser type, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he wasn't heroic in reel 1, reel 2, reel 3. But he was lovable.
Yeah.
There was something in his character.
You wanted him to win.
Sorry?
You wanted him as a viewer. You wanted him to get a break.
If you're sitting in the theater by the 7th or 8th reel, you're into the movie.
Yeah.
If you're in the 3rd reel and you go, I'm just not feeling this guy, I could walk out. All right. But by the 10th reel, if you're there, and if he decides to train for the biggest moment of his life, you're with him. And by the way, the training is it's a minute and a half. In other words, the montage that John asked for initially is a minute and a half. He says, give me a minute and a half. It's easy to cut music. when there's rhythm. I either cut film when there's rhythm. If you have disparate pieces of film, here's them running, here's them jumping, here's them doing calisthenics, whatever they do, and you want to put it together. Well, the very putting together makes a rhythm. Or you could say, if I had some rhythm, I could cut the film to it and make these cuts look like they're meant to be. So, Bill, give me a minute and a half of music. So, the little theme that was very sad for 9 reels, I just made it go fast. And I pumped it up into a power place. And I gave John a minute and a half. And then he says, "Can you give me 30 more seconds?" Like, I can do that. I tacked on 30 seconds of music. Now that means I go home, I play on the piano, and I go to a cassette recorder. You'd have to explain what a cassette recorder is to people. And I'd bring it in so he could cut his music. And then another 30 seconds. And he kept saying, "I need more. I want more." I gave him another 30 seconds. So there's 3 minutes of music. Now, no one sat down to write a song. There's 3 minutes of working out. And he's, in the end, he's running up the stairs. Okay. John says, the two of us sitting there, "Look, he's jumping up and down. He's going to fly now." He says, "Can't we say something now?" I says, "It's your movie, John. You can say anything you want." In the movie earlier were songs that Carol, Annie, and I wrote because it was a cheap picture. If it was a real picture, they would have bought the rights to a song that was very famous at the time, a hit song. He puts on the record player in his, or the radio in his apartment, and some famous song plays. So Carol, Annie, and I wrote the song called "You Take My Heart Away," that plays when Adrian and Rocky meet first. So I say to John, "Well, the girls could write a lyric to this. Don't forget, this is tacked together 30 seconds of stuff that
Yeah.
I felt this will work." Then we take this, we go over to Carol and Annie, we go, "John wants you to say something, but not too much." I mean, literally, he said, like he's getting stronger. He's getting, look at him. He's pumping up. He's whatever. They go, "Got it," because that's what they do. I mean, they can explain what they do because they come up
Well,
with words based on.
Carol said it came to her in the shower after that meeting. Do you remember that story?
It comes to her in the shower. I mean, these are private things that we don't need to know.
Yeah, we don't need to.
Sometimes it happens that way.
She
So,
told that story.
so that's the 10th reel. So why do people like it? I mean, you're really primed to get excited about something. There was nothing exciting for 9 reels. And then, kind of, if you were paying attention, the fanfare at the very beginning was bold. It was a little too bold. It promised. Did it overpromise? Right? ROCKY comes by. Now that inspiration came from a screening when John, we need something to begin the screening. So he just went, he drew out the big old arrows. Then you take a camera and you go slowly like that. And of course, on a 35-foot screen, it's a big R, a big O, it comes to the thing. So it's bigger than life. So I go bigger than life. I put like a fanfare.
Yeah.
Now, a fanfare is like, here comes the king. The king is coming. The gladiators are coming. Call it whatever you want. It's a lot of noise. It calls attention to itself. It's ta-da! Here I am. And you go, for 9 reels, we're talking a guy that we like, you love, but here's the payoff. The payoff is coming. Here comes the king, and don't forget he loses the fight. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't about that fight. It wasn't about that winning. It was about an inner battle, and people kind of got that. They didn't have
Yeah.
to, but they got it.
Have you had an inner battle like that? Did Do you hear that music for yourself ever in your life? Do you ever feel like you'd
I
been the
use other
underdog?
music. I use other music. In other words, what inspires me has always been the great music of the past that everybody, Ride of the Valkyrie, of Wagner. I mean, you know all these great pieces. I mean,
Yeah.
all the great pieces
Yes.
are the ones that are in the repertoire that you grow up with. But what you do, you reinterpret the feeling. In other words, if Wagner goes
Right.
the way he
Right.
does it, if I mean, I'm not, if Beethoven's Ninth, with the choral singing the great themes that have been in the past. Well, as a composer, I'm not stealing theirs. I'm stealing that emotion.
That emotion,
They go,
that
yeah, you
feeling.
feel that way? Well, I feel that way too. Listen to this. Now, it's not at the level of the greats. It's definitely not at the level of the greats. However, who's going to say that my feelings are less than your feelings? My human feelings. You fall in love, your love is better than my love? No, no. I have to respect that you love, and you respect that I love deeply. Well, I can do it. I can explain it musically. I go, when I want to go punch someone in the face, this is what it sounds like. I write this. Why? Because I feel it. Not because Rocky feels it, because I feel it. Because Rocky's a human. He feels it too.
Two of my favorites that you've written, the broadcast news, that piano really just gets me in the heart every time. And the same with the Thomas Crown affair when they're
No, I like Thomas Crown. Yeah.
soaring. Oh, it's so
I
beautiful.
was
The
so
piano, you
I
just
was
feel
so
that
afraid of Thomas.
exhilaration.
I was afraid of Thomas Crown. Told the director because the original Thomas Crown. Um, Give me the names who starred in it.
For the original,
The original
I can find.
was very good. Don't even worry about it. It was a great movie. It was a great. Michel Legrand did the score. Michel Legrand did the score. It was a remake, and I said, "What are we doing here?"
1968, Steve McQueen, Faye Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway and Michel Legrand,
Yes.
and he says, "We're doing our own version. Just don't even think about them." He says, "Just go crazy." Interesting. He didn't care about another guy's version either. I did, but he took me away from that. He says, "Just do something."
Yeah. So the score then, and that must have been scary too, because the Windmills of Your Mind won the Academy Award for the best
Yeah,
original song that
big,
year.
big movie, big movie.
Yeah. Well, I love those pieces that you did. The piano. I've played examples here in the show.
We
It's
had
just
five piano
so
players.
beautiful. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had five of the greatest pianists in here in Los Angeles. And they all walked in, on a recording session. There's usually like a lot of violin players, a lot of woodwind players, and there'd only be one piano player. And they walk in and there's five of them. They go, "What are you doing here? What are you doing?" But it was an interesting sound. I thought the sound of the five pianos was going to be good.
Bill, if you don't mind, I want to move to the James Bond. That movie, For Your Eyes Only, was the very first Bond movie I ever saw when I was a kid. And stepping into that franchise, that must have been a little bit nerve wracking as well. How did you approach composing within a world that already had such an established musical identity? How did you make it your own?
Yeah, yeah. I For some reason John Barry could not do that one. and he recommended me, which was a, a great thing to do. He recommended me to Cubby Broccoli, and other people had done James Bond movies before, but you had to maintain uh, James's theme, the Marty Alexander theme, when
Hmm.
James goes into action. He said, well, you had to do that. You could do it your way, but you had to do that theme. And it didn't bother me because I was a James Bond fan before that, and
Yeah,
you wouldn't think of doing anything but that.
right.
But
Honoring
you
that
end up
legacy.
doing it your own way, and you make choices, and it becomes a style, and it either works or it doesn't work. The For Your Eyes Only is a interesting. I wrote a song that ended For Your Eyes Only because it seemed like it came at the end of the sentence. I do this for you, I do that for you, I do it for your eyes only.
Hmm.
So I had this song that I written with Mick Leeson, who wrote the words, and I had a demo. I was going to show it to Cubby Broccoli, and it was at Pinewood in London. We had lunch before. I had lunch with the guy that did the main title. Then I had a meeting with Cubby. So the guy that did the main title goes, in all these years, the best songs are the ones that coincide with the title of the song with the main title,
Hmm.
Goldfinger. And he tells me all about these great things. So I have my little cassette. Again, you have to explain what a cassette is to people. My cassette
I
player
had one.
had it had a song that ended For Your Eyes Only. I think, oh my goodness. So he kind of talked me. He didn't know I had that song, but he talked me out of it, and I canceled my appointment with Cubby Broccoli. And I went up to Mick Leeson. I came back to him. I said, "Listen, this song begins for your eyes only, and that I don't care what you say after that. You think of some words to say after that, but this is how it begins: for your eyes only." So we did. We wrote "For Your Eyes Only" song, the second one, and Sheena sang it, which was good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Well, Bill, unfortunately, our clock is running out on us, but I have a couple more quick questions. Your wife, Shelby, she was such an integral part of your life and behind supporting you and your legacy. And you and your wife donated your entire collection of scores to LSU. What does it mean to you to leave that legacy for future musicians, and what do you hope future generations learn from your music and from your journey?
Well, I did it because we met there. We met at LSU, and
You and Shelby?
yeah, I was in the
Oh.
band. I was the piano player, of course, and she was a dancing girl. And all the dancing girls had audition, and I was a piano
Like the
player.
piano player.
you know, I got lucky, and I figured it was an emotional place for us. And if anyone was interested in this business of film music, right, uh, then they should have access to it. People
Mm,
have done it. Other composers have done it at other schools, and I thought my school might appreciate having a library of. If some one student was
such
interested
a
in writing dramatic music for the movies or television, they could go
such
and
a
say,
generous
"Well, this
gift.
guy was here. This is his piece of music. I'm going to call it." And I kind of look what he did. Because you say, well, here's the script, here's the sketches, here's the orchestration, here's the recording. Ah, because I did that when I came to Hollywood, meaning I was at Warner Brothers and I went to the librarian And I said, let me see Dmitri Chomkin's stuff. He said, really? I said, yes, really. So he went to the bag, feather dusted it off, put it in front of me. And I poured over these people who I thought they were working composers, right? What they did for a living was they wrote music. So I wanted to live my truth. The truth was, I want to say, I'm a film composer. What do you do? I just write music for the movies. I don't teach. I don't play in a saloon. I don't sell guitars. This is what I do. And these other guys, that's what they did. These are my mates, right? There's Miklos Rocha, there's Chomkin, there's the greats of the past, and but they had them over there at these libraries. So I pulled all those things, and it meant something to me. So in that, I hope that someone will get the same feeling I did.
It's a beautiful gift, very generous, and I'm sure will be appreciated for so long, and is appreciated right now. Well, finally, looking back at your career from Rocky to the Right Stuff, from the Oscars to classrooms, what has music taught you about perseverance and purpose for your life?
Well,
What does it all
it is,
mean?
well, it's the closest transcendent that you can get to the divine. Now, if you
I
believe in
love
the
that.
divine, that's one thing. I
I
do.
love that.
So, what's the next thing? I mentioned it, and I kind of lightly call it the ultimate fantasy. But all art that transports you from reality, transcends reality into something higher than its reality. And if you don't think there's something higher reality, then we can disagree. But I do. So art does that. Painters, writers, they take it to the highest level, get as close as they can to the divine. No, they're not at the divine. I admit that.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
for me, it's music.
Mm-hmm.
Music takes me as close as I can get.
Me
Prayer
too.
will get me the rest of the way.
Bill, thank you so much for your music, for all the great memories that I've had watching films that you've scored. Um, those moments lift us higher,
Thank you.
have lifted me higher. And so thank you. It's really been an honor to have you on the show. Um, this is part of our Hollywood Composer series, this conversation with Bill today, Scoring the Scores. It's brought to you by this show and executive producer Carol Connors, a mutual friend of Bill and I's, and I'm Jeremiah. I want to remind you to listen more and evolve. And before I let you go here, let me just give out Bill's. You can find him on filmmusiccreator.wixsite.com, Bill Conti. Um, Bill, is there anywhere else you'd like to send anybody to find you?
No.
Or are you happy if they don't find you? Just listen
Well,
to your
no,
music.
no. I'm just, I am where I am, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
have a problem.
I really enjoyed this time
Thank
with
you.
you
It's been my
today.
pleasure.
I just want to say one final note. I'm so proud to share that a few of our Jeremiah Show family are up for Grammy consideration this year. Our good friend Larry DeVoskin has a beautiful song in the running. It's called This New Age. If you know any Grammy voters, spread the love and the good vibes Larry's way. This song shines with hope and heart. And another special shout out to Carol Connors, executive producer of this Hollywood Composer series. Her incredible audiobook, Elvis, Rocky, and Me, the Carol Connors story, narrated by Kathy Garver, is also up for a Grammy consideration in the category of Best Audiobook, Narration and Storytelling Recording. So pick up a copy of the book. It's a great read. And if you're a Grammy voter, please vote for this. Two amazing artists, two projects worth celebrating. Let's all lift them up and give them some Jeremiah Show love, and let the music and the story speak for themselves. Listen more and evolve. Bill Conti, thank you so much, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.